All right, let's dive into what's happening between the United States and Venezuela. This is a story that's getting more intense by the day, and it involves military might, some really defiant politics, and a whole global movement that's demanding change.
So I want you to just think about that for a second. What would you do? Because for Venezuela, this isn't some movie plot. It's what's happening right now. And this single question really gets to the core of the incredible pressure at the heart of this entire standoff.
So first, let's break down the U.S. military presence. I mean, what does this show of force actually look like? And what's the official reason for it all?
We're talking about a huge number here. 15,000 U.S. troops are now in the area, near Venezuelan waters, and they've got some serious military hardware backing them up.
And just to put that into perspective, this is not just another military exercise. This is the biggest American military buildup in this part of the world since the invasion of Panama way back in 1989. So yeah, this carries some serious historical weight.
So what's the official story from the Trump administration? Well, it's kind of layered. On the surface, they're calling it a big anti-drug operation. But it's also pretty clearly a way to put some major psychological pressure on Nicolás Maduro, who the US and a lot of other countries just don't see as a legitimate leader. Plus, it's a response to all the international calls for him to step down.
Okay, so that's the U.S. side. But how is the Venezuelan government reacting to this massive military presence right on its doorstep? Well, as you can probably guess, they see things very, very differently. President Nicolás Maduro has been completely defiant, calling it a straight-up illegal threat.
And he didn't mince words. He called it, and I'm quoting here, an illegal threat of imperialist aggression, and said the whole thing was absolutely disproportionate and extravagant and unnecessary. The language is incredibly strong. There's no mistaking how they feel about it.
And here's a really key part of his argument. He's insisting that his country is no danger to anyone. He's basically saying Venezuela hasn't been and will never be a threat, which is his way of arguing that this whole military operation is built on a lie.
So you see the two stories here, right? They're polar opposites, and there's just no middle ground. The US says this is a necessary mission. Venezuela says it's an illegal act of aggression. And that fundamental clash, that's what the standoff is all about.
But you know, this isn't just a chess match between two governments. There's another massive piece on the board here, the Venezuelan people. And they are mobilizing, both inside and outside the country, in this powerful call for change.
A key person driving this is opposition leader Maria Kina Mashado. She's put out a call for huge international protests, calling them peace and freedom protests. The whole idea is to rally support from all over the globe.
Wow, did people answer that call? We're seeing huge protests being planned in 20 different countries and more than 80 cities. It's turned what was a national crisis into a truly global movement, with rallies everywhere from Buenos Aires to Berlin.
So why is this international response so enormous? Well, you have to understand this staggering number. 8 million. That's how many Venezuelans have had to flee their country since Maduro took power. That creates a massive, motivated diaspora that's now a huge political force on the world stage.
And that brings up a really tough question. Why are we seeing so much of this protest happening outside of Venezuela? The answer is pretty chilling. There are over 2,000 political prisoners in the country right now, which means protesting on the streets there is incredibly risky. That fear has quieted a lot of activism at home, forcing people to rely on the international community to be their voice.
So all of this, it brings us right here, to this exact moment. You've got this nation caught between these immense pressures from the outside and from within, staring down a future that is completely up in the air.
Let's just do a super quick rewind of how we got here. A few weeks ago, the military threats from the US were ramping up. Now, that's turned into the biggest military presence we've seen in the area for over 30 years. And today, right now, a global diaspora is hitting the streets. It's all happening at once.
And that leaves us with the big question, right? You've got the military pressure from a superpower. You've got the defiant politics from a government that's refusing to back down. And you've got this massive wave of popular protest. With all these forces colliding, what on earth is the path forward? The answer is going to affect a lot more than just Venezuela. And right now, nobody knows what that answer is.